What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Steel to Stone channel. So today we're going to do a little sharpening video on the Manix 2 and SPY27. And, I reprofiled this knife with the Ruixin Pro when I got it in, and it did a pretty good job, but it left some deep scratches in the edge that I have yet to get out of the bevel. And after I got done with that sharpening, I touched up the knife afterwards on the 800 grit Veneve stone, and it had a really good edge on it that I've been using ever since then. And I've broke down tons of cardboard with it, cut up plastic bottles and straps and open packages and just all kinds of different things with it over this past month or so, however long it's been since I sharpened it. And I've been pretty impressed just carrying it in my everyday task. I've intentionally left food residue on it for days on end just to see if it would stain it or anything, and it's held up very well in every aspect so far. And I think it's going to be a pretty good performer for Spyderco overall. But I wanted to touch it up and get rid of those deep scratches that were in the bevel and just put a better looking edge on there, even though it was still screaming sharp. I've stropped it back to a hair shaving level of sharpness a couple times already, and yeah, I've been very impressed with the way that it comes back and the edge that it's capable of holding. Not necessarily that it's like a super steel in the sense of something like K390 where it just holds a crazy edge for a very long time, but you're able to keep it very sharp pretty easily, and that's definitely a great quality to the steel. And yeah, so far I think it's really good. And so we're going to get into sharpening it real quick, and I'm just going to use the 400 grit Veneve and get rid of those scratches is essentially all I'm doing here, and then strop it back up to a pretty high polish, and yeah, just go with it after that. So just maintaining my bevel, matching what I got off the Ruixin Pro, and cutting down deep enough to get rid of those scratches and putting a better looking edge on here. So trying to maintain that angle best I can and keeping my edge perpendicular to the stone for the most part, just because I've found that gives me the best performance in my edges and the best edge retention, as well as the most aggression at the apex. And it just cuts better like that, and I get a very high level of sharpness doing it this way versus holding the knife at like a holding the blade at a 45-degree angle on the stone. Sometimes I've noticed a lower level of sharpness doing that versus doing it this way. So, and if you see me move the knife off of the stone and out of the view of the camera, that's just me checking the edge, looking at the scratches, and checking to make sure I'm flipping that burr back and forth until it's gone and all the scratches are removed. So I don't think we spend too much time on this stone. We could 5-6 minutes or something like that. It's not very long. I think I spent as much time stropping as I did actually on the stone here. So, and you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos, I love this stone. It's my favorite to use. Really great feedback, cuts really well, leaves a fantastic edge, very consistent edge with sort of a cloudy, hazy finish on the bevel that can easily be refined with the strops, as you'll see by the end of the video. And I love sharpening the Manix just in general, not just this one, but that model in particular. I guess what would you say, the design of the edge, the profile of the edge, the way it's designed, just seems like a very easy blade shape to sharpen. And you have to contend with the plunge grind a little bit, and that can be difficult in some cases, but for the most part I really have always gotten really good edges, really consistent looking edges, and just great performance from the Manix series in general, regardless of the steel. It's one of my favorite knives to sharpen. Keep your stones like this with a good bit of water or whatever lubricant you use on them. Keep it on there and wet. And sometimes I neglect to do that, but that'll help a little bit with the loading, because these stones, particularly the Veneve stones, do load pretty quickly, but they also cut very fast when they're not loaded up. So and you see me checking for the burr with my fingernail there. That's what I normally do, and a lot of times I can feel it come off on the stone or see it, or I'll end up running over it with the edge, which is not something you want to do. But yeah, I feel it with my fingernail like that, and then normally once I can't feel it's there anymore, for the most part, I'll move on to the strops, and that's where we're going now. So this is the 4 micron Veneve, and you know, you'll see me go back and forth from heel to tip, tip to heel, and that's just, I normally do that when I'm ensuring that I'm getting the burr off of there. If I feel like there might be a little bit of one left when I'm done on the stone, I'll do that just to make sure I get it off completely. And you can see I'm using a good bit of pressure here. I apologize, it's not in full view of the camera. I always forget to raise up the camera before I start stropping, but you can hear and see that I'm using a good bit of pressure on the strop, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm using the strops sort of like you would with a stone. I'm using them to actually help me polish the bevel and get that consistent finish all throughout the edge. And now this is the 1 micron Gunny Juice, which has been phenomenal for me so far. And with a sharpening like this and the amount of time I'm spending stropping, you might think it's too much, or some of you may. But the reason I'm doing this is because I'm stropping to a point, right? I'm not just looking for that high level of sharpness on the edge, or I probably could have stopped already, or the removal of the burr is, you know, it's definitely probably gone at this point. But what I'm trying to accomplish with these strops in this sharpening is actually getting that consistent polish all the way across the bevel. So I'm going to stop when that's complete. We're coming up on the end of it here, so got everything fully polished to my liking, fully deburred, apex cleaned up, and then I've got a clip in here at the end to show you guys the final finish on the edge and a little sharpness test. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with SPY27 so far, and we may do some more testing over time with this. I'm not sure yet, but I feel like I've got a pretty good feel for the steel so far, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it's a good EDC steel, you know, very similar to S35 or S30V, and you know, it seems to be good and corrosion resistant, which it should be, fairly tough, decent strength at the edge, and good edge retention. And you know, the best part about it, I would say, is the ease of maintenance. It's easy to sharpen and easy to maintain on the strops. So I think Spyderco did a pretty good job with it, and it's absolutely an upgraded VG10, or seems to be. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that, found it useful, all that good jazz, and thank you for watching. We will see you soon.